you will start to believe that, okay, everything you think isn't that important, or it doesn't make sense, or you start to not really even trust yourself, trust your judgment at all. And you fall into this frame where what's up, guys? Back with another video. Let's say you and I are going camping and I tell you that I'm going to bring the 2 tents for us to stay in. That way we don't get mauled by bears out in the wilderness. So, okay, so now it's the day of the trip, and you know, we meet up and we say, okay, let's go camping. And I show up, I'm like, all right, where are the tents? And you're like, you said you're going to bring the tents, Jeremy. And I'm like, no, I never said that. And you're like, yeah, you did. You literally told me that you were going to bring the tents. And I'm like, I never said that. I never said that. I think you're going crazy. I think you're losing it. What are you talking about? In fact, I deny so much, and I start joking about how crazy you are. I started telling you that you're just losing it, and you know, I'm just dismissing whatever you're saying because it's not true. Now, what's going on in this situation? You start thinking, you're like, maybe he actually didn't say he was going to bring the tents. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Maybe I'm tripping. That's what you start thinking, because I mean, if he's saying that he never said that he's bringing the tents with so much conviction, that means that he's probably right and I'm probably wrong. So now let me start questioning my reality. Maybe I'm going crazy. This is gaslighting. I just gaslit you like crazy because I told you a blatant lie and I made you question yourself and pretty much made yourself go crazy in that moment. Because I didn't want to own, either whether I knew it or not, I didn't want to own up to the fact that I didn't bring the tents, right? I don't want to own up to that. I want to keep my view of myself as someone that keeps their word. So I'm going to tell you something that's not true so that you can think that it's your fault and put the blame on yourself. And this is done a lot, and people, sometimes you don't even know that you're doing it. People don't know that they're gaslighting other people, right? If you look at maybe your family members or maybe your parents growing up, there are little things, whether they dismissed what you were saying or they didn't really consider it or they just joked about it, just joked about how you felt about a certain thing or what you thought about a certain thing. They dismissed it and they put it in a sense where it doesn't really matter. It can make you feel like, oh, my feelings are invalid, or the way I think is invalid because this person, maybe someone I'm close with or somebody I look up to, doesn't validate what I'm thinking or feeling. So it must be incorrect. You will start to believe that, okay, everything you think isn't that important, or it doesn't make sense, or you start to not really even trust yourself, trust your judgment at all. And you fall into this frame where, okay, what I think doesn't matter, how I feel doesn't matter. It just starts lowering your confidence, and it sucks because if this happens in early childhood or your teenage years a lot, it comes out in your adult life where you don't believe in yourself, or you get anxiety about situations because you feel like, you know, what you have to say isn't important. I mean, for example, some people are scared as hell of public speaking, or just being on camera like this, or just talking in front of an audience, because they've been told that what they have to say isn't important. So when it's time to say something, they have all this anxiety. Oh, these people don't care. Oh, they're gonna make fun of me and all this, just because someone in the past or something in the past has lowered their confidence so much, or they allowed it to lower their confidence so much to the point where it still catches up with them in adulthood. And you see this in relationships. Like, I mean, couples gaslight each other all the time. You know, saying they didn't say a certain thing when they actually did, saying that they did a certain thing when they really didn't. And it's to preserve the ego and keep the ego intact. That way it doesn't get like put on blast, or the ego doesn't get founded out that it's not this amazing person, right? And again, this can be a conscious or unconscious thing. Of course, it's easier to see it in other people and not as easy to see when you're gaslighting people. You know, are there times where you're just like blatantly lying just to preserve yourself and just to make sure that you don't feel bad about something that you did or didn't do? You can see this even in politics too. I mean, politicians gaslight all the time. They gaslight their opponents and their audience. You know, Trump tweets something and then he gets interviewed and he's like, oh, I never said that, or that never happened. And you can literally pull up the tweet And then you see where Trump literally says what he says he didn't say, and it's this whole thing. And then, you know, liberals have a fit, and then conservatives have a fit. This is why politics seems like a reality show and a clown show a lot of times. Nobody can see each other's sides. Everyone wants to preserve their side, and then they project onto each other certain things, and they don't want to hear each other out a lot of times. Oh man, and this is another one. Okay, let's say you're wearing a new hat, and you go out and about, and like 4 people tell you that your hat looks weird, or it's just odd. It's just weird, right? But you like the hat, but people say it's weird and it looks odd. I guarantee you're not going to wear that hat anymore. Reason being is because there's a group of people, whether they know each other or not, that have had a certain consensus about your hat, and that it looks weird. So because it looks weird, you start thinking, oh wow, I don't want to look weird. That's not how I view myself. So I'm not going to wear this hat anymore because it's weird according to these people. And you know, what's weird is completely subjective. But because it's multiple people and we ping off one another for you know, how to navigate reality, you're gonna just fall into that frame because it's multiple people saying it. I mean, let's say you go on Amazon, right, and you're buying something like a water pitcher, or I don't know, a phone case, or some pillow, or some shoes. I don't know. You're on Amazon buying something. What do? You look at the ratings, and then you scroll down and you go to the reviews, because you need to see what are people saying about this product. Is it a good product? Is it worth the money? Am I throwing my money away by buying this? So you do that, and it gives you an idea of the item because you're trying to ping off of what other people are saying about it. That way you make sure that, you know, you're buying a good item. Now, oftentimes gaslighting can be observed in narcissists. Again, narcissism is a very wide range. You don't want to put all people that are narcissists in a box, but narcissists can often really gaslight people just because they need their sense of self to remain intact no matter what. If you're dealing with a narcissist, you need to be aware of this gaslighting mechanism, them dismissing whatever you think or have to say, because it doesn't really align with how they view themselves. And also just the lies that can quickly be said to you. If you can't pick up on that, you'll fall into that frame. And if you're a narcissist and you believe that you do gaslight people, is there a way for you to see the other person's point of view, put yourself in their shoes, right? Because if you're so centralized in yourself, centralize yourself in that, what if somebody else was dismissing what you had to think about yourself? And let me make another distinction. You also have to look at if you're overreacting to a situation, and you have to be as objective as possible, because there are times where we overreact in situations. Okay, the waiter gets your order wrong at the restaurant, and you just overreact, and then maybe the person you're eating dinner with is like, oh, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal, they'll get you a new dish, and you're like, no, I wanted it this way. I didn't want my greens touching my steak. I wanted it that way, but they had the greens touching the steak, so I want another plate. This is ridiculous. That'd be an example of you overreacting, because that's just a situation that isn't that big of a deal. Even if you're like in a rush or something, your order getting wrong, I mean, that's not too much. If somebody's telling you, okay, it's not that big of a deal, that's not gaslighting. That's just them helping you out and saying, listen, this is a situation that you don't have to take too seriously or personally, and you can just have a better time out and enjoy your meal better by just being patient and waiting for the correct order. So yeah, that's gaslighting in a nutshell. It's just when somebody trivializes your emotions or thought process and how you feel, and makes you just question your reality and make you kind of go crazy for a second, like, what am I insane or something? So as to make you kind of fall into their frame and their way of thinking. And it can really, you know, depending on what time period in your life it is, where happens a lot, it can really like lower your confidence if you allow it. So it comes down to an awareness that you have of gaslighting, an awareness of when it's happening to you and when you're doing it to other people. If you're doing it to other people, why are you doing it to other people? Is it to preserve your sense of self? Is it to feel like, is it to not feel bad? Is it to not feel some sort of guilt? A lot of times that's what it is. You're not trying to feel some sort of guilt, so you want to lie to somebody else, right? In that earlier example, me telling you I'm going to bring the tents, and then we get there to start camping, and I don't have the tents, and I said I never brought it. I'm not trying to feel guilty about that, so I'm going to say I never said that. right? So that you can believe that, and then now, you know, we can move on, and you don't even know that I gaslit you, and we can just go forward and just start a new situation, and you never even think of me ever gaslighting you, and I never have to feel guilty about doing so. If you enjoyed this video, hit a like and subscribe, because there's so much more to come. And if you have any video suggestions, comment it below or send me an email. And also leave a comment down below if you have any experiences of people gaslighting you, or when you gaslit somebody else. Just leave a comment, and we can get a discussion going down in the comment section. That's the end of this video. Take care of yourselves. Peace.